Thanks for hopping on with us, everybody. Tonight, we are doing a session about unusual crew plays and communication. And to take the lead, I'm going to turn it over to TJ Cunningham. TJ, it's all yours.
Hey guys, my name is TJ Cunningham. I live in Illinois, and I am in the MFOA, and I am part of the COC developmental staff. I've been a part of this learning development for about a year now. It's been a great tool. So I wanted to share with you guys some of the stuff that I have learned in my career and everything, and just go over plays that have happened where crew communication is very important during the unusual plays. At any time, go ahead and speak up if you have any questions. I got about 4 plays that we're going to break down. They're significant plays that happened during the game that crew communication was very vital to the success of the crew during those times. So real quick, I made a quick little slideshow. Unusual crew plays and communication. One of the questions I always talk about is, how do we communicate during unusual plays? What do we do during the crew conference? Because usually after unusual plays, we're gonna have a crew conference, and we're gonna discuss the situation. How do we communicate in that conference? Then we're going to discuss kind of what makes the play unusual. Usually there's a caveat to it, and we have to ask that question in that conference. And then we go down, then we talk about how do we break down the play on the field. So we have all these different entities, but then we have to break them down so quick and communicate those to the coaches. First thing is, how do we communicate during unusual plays? If it's something with O2Os and radios, we can communicate with our mechanics. Do we have incomplete pass? Do we have a touchdown? Do we have them down at the goal line? Signals. Those are ways of communication. Those are nonverbal communication that tells our partners on the field what we have. If they have something different, this indicates to them that they may see something we didn't. So this is what will cause a crew consultation. Obtaining information. So what is your process? And I'm going to ask you during this, what's your process to obtain information with what you have from the result of the play to the additional information that's given to you by the crew? And how do we do it in a timely manner? It's been talked about by many coordinators about when we have crew consultations, the timing of it, how long it takes. Yes, we want to get it right, but what does it look like if we're spending 5 minutes talking about a situation? So how can we be effective in these consultations to get the information quickly, process the information, and come up with the result of a play? If it's a touchdown, if the player's down, if it's a penalty enforcement. And then the biggest part is communicating to the coaches. For the referees on the call, when do you communicate that to the coaches? Is it something that your wings can do? Is it something that they will want to talk to you? And when to do that? One thing during unusual plays is what makes them unusual. Is it a formation that makes them unusual? Is it a coverage by the defense? Is the defense in a coverage that's kind of that the key that you're switching off your keys, and whose key is it, and what is the defense doing? And also we have to talk about where on the field it happens. So the area of the play is a goal line play. Those are the biggest ones we have a lot of communication about with from the wings across the field. If it's a dive play in the end zone. So I've taken some plays that I've experienced I want to share with you guys today. And feel free, ask questions, talk about it, because I've learned from these plays, and I hope you guys do tonight as well. So last slide, we're going to do a play breakdown the result of the play. We're going to talk about if we had any infractions. There's a couple plays that have potential infractions that we have to talk about. And then we're going to talk about keys and coverages. During the film that you're going to see tonight, we're going to talk about whose key it was and what was the coverage by each official. So I'll explain more, and this will make a lot more sense when we start looking at the plays. Okay, so the first one we're going to have is we are going to have, let me know when you guys see this. You guys see it? Hello?
Yes. Yeah, we're good.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, we got you, TJ.
Okay, so this in the end zone is going to be an OPI call. Watch down here, watch 19, watch 84. I'll go back. One more time. Okay, so we had an offensive pass interference by the line judge, and the rest of the play doesn't show, but we had a crew consultation with the F and the B. So short wings, deep wings on this. Let's talk about what your thought process is on this. Tell me what position you are and what you're thinking when you're looking at this.
TJ, I'll go ahead and start.
Sure.
I work on a line of scrimmage, and you know, if you go back to the formation there,
Sure.
you know, we've got a double, right? So we're in a double situation, and with the L at the bottom of the screen, the line judge is going to take the back. Well, the back is not, you know, he stays in blocks, but we're moving toward the goal line, so you know, kind of going to zone up on that play. You know, I'm going to be more alert to if one of these receivers kind of leaks out towards me, releases to my side, or maybe you know, in a situation where the running back comes out of the flat, or maybe, you know, fakes a block and then releases from there. So that's kind of my focus as I move toward the pylon.
Okay. So what?
Oh, sorry.
No. Go ahead.
Gerard Davis here as a back judge. With the L at the bottom of the screen, I know that my key is the number 2 guy on the line judge side. So it may not be actually in a conversation with the F on this situation, but I may go to the L because that's my key and talk to him about, okay, what did you see? Because I didn't throw my flag and that's my key.
Okay. So I will tell you this, we stuck with it. They talked, the L was adamant about it. Obviously the coach was upset. And the L was on the coach's side, and he made it well known that he was upset about that. But we tried to talk him off of it. After we looked on film, he wish he would have stayed off of it. But we gave him all the information that we could, but ultimately it was his decision to stay with that. And you know, that took away an extra point. And now Nick, mechanic wise as well, he signals touchdown here, but he has OPI. Should that not be killing the clock, or is that just, or is that a preference thing?
Well, you know, that's one of those things to talk about amongst whatever group it is that you work in. You know, it's going to vary greatly, probably depending on who you work in. But you know, for us and TJ and I are in the same basic group. You know, they don't. If you're going to call the foul and it's going to take a touchdown away, and you're the one who would rule on the touchdown, then yeah, you just kill the clock. You would want to come up bringing up a touchdown that you know you're going to take away. Now, you know, if the F threw the flag there, then yeah, the L would ring up a touchdown because he doesn't necessarily know what the flag is. But when you know what the flag is and you see the result like this, you just want to kill it.
And Nick brings up a good point. That was another thing that we kind of talked about too, because he threw the flag, had OPI, and then signaled touchdown. So just you know, it's a mechanics thing where the coach thought he had touchdown, and the guy that signaled touchdown was taken away from him. Any questions, comments on this play? So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my folder. There's another play, same game. And this is as you guys can see, unusual plays with the crew. The title was fumble in the end zone. So these are always fun. So what are you guys thinking here? Deep wings?
TJ, I'm a deep wing. This is Steven.
Okay.
First thing I'm thinking is, was he in possession of the ball when it crossed over to the goal line? If not, when did it come out?
Yep. So the one thing I noticed on this was, and if you watch it, watch the back judge. He's got a bing bag and he kills it. And he kind of gives the touchback, but stops the talk. So this is another thing too, with about being on a crew. This is his first game. And he has this play. So we talked about it. The ball came loose and it became a touchback. But the important thing is F and B talked about it. They discussed the situation. F gave B the information. B talked about what he saw, and the S did come in. He did not have a lot of information because the runner's back was to S. So, but this is something that was very important with communicating to each other, because this is a big play. You're either going to give the ball to the visiting team or you're putting 6 points on the board.
And you know, TJ, you talked earlier too about, you know, mechanically, how do we help each other out too? And I know you said it was the S first game, but this is a play where if you see that fumble and you're sure that you're going to put that as a fumble, make sure you get that bag out there in the field of play so that your partner, the back judge, who doesn't have a really good look down the goal line, has a little bit more of a clue as to what's going on. I think that helps a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So,
and also, what was the down?
I'm not sure. That's a great question.
Because if this is fourth down, we might have a little situation. Because it looks like it's whatever in goal. So if it's fourth and goal, Nick, please correct me if I'm wrong. If wouldn't the fourth down fumble rule apply in this situation if they don't score, but the ball was recovered in the end zone?
Yeah, if A recovered the fumble in the end zone, then yeah, it's going to be B's ball at the spot of the fumble.
Okay, I just want to be sure, and that's why I asked what down was this.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Sam. That's a great question, though. This film is about 3 years old, so but I mean these plays, I mean the type of plays we had both in the same game. You know, obviously we're going to watch these for a while. So getting off that game, we're going to go to another crew situation, and this is the one where you don't see this every day. So we're going to have a punt situation. I'm not going to tell you what happened. I'm going to let it play out here. All right, one more time. So this is the punter's first punt of the game in the third quarter. He punts it, shanks it. The receiver jumps over a player on the ground, first to touch it, and it's recovered by the kicking team. So we all got together on this as well, and I will show you the end zone view because this will share a So what do you guys think?
Deep guys, what's your call here? What do you got?
Call me crazy, but I got nothing. I got White's ball. New set of downs.
Okay.
Why?
He is blocked, but go ahead.
Was the question why?
Yeah.
So I had Red, the returner for Red. I saw a valid fair catch signal. Saw him muff the kick. Saw White recover it. Yes, Red did have to jump over a player that was down on the ground. However, I don't. By the intent of the rule of kick catch interference, I don't believe that player did anything wrong to prevent that Red player from cleanly fielding the kick. He was still able to get. I mean, that ball hit him square in the chest, and it still bounced right off of him. So the opportunity to still catch the kick was still there. And yeah, I mean, muffs it. White's got the ball.
Someone else was going to say something.
I mean, I'm kind of stuck between where Gerard's at, recognizing that the player from B, or excuse me, the player from A ends up on the ground because it looks like he gets blocked. Potentially, and I think it's from the side, so it's probably a clean block. But the block doesn't actually knock him into the B player, and so that's where I'm struggling. Is I think the rule is that if he's blocked into a B player, it can be ignored. But in this case, I don't think he's blocked into him. I think he's blocked into the ground, and then a B player goes over. So would love to read the rule a little bit closer, but I would probably go KCI if I were on this game because it impeded the returner's ability to go after the ball. I agree with Gerard that he did have an opportunity to catch the ball, but he did not have the same opportunity he would have had if he didn't have to jump over the player.
Okay. I'm gonna call him Banks because I've worked with Sam. Sam, what do you think here?
You put me on the spot.
I only do that because we've been together, my man.
No,
I only
no,
do that.
No, you're good, man. The ball didn't touch the ground, right?
It did touch the ground.
Okay. That's a tough one. If the ball, I'm paying attention, but not paying attention. If the ball touched the ground before B had the opportunity to catch it, then I believe KCI is wiped off. If he called a fair catch and the ball did not touch the ground first, then I'm going KCI.
And Sam, exactly what you said was talked about in our conversation. So I'm pointing the result of the play here, but we got together. And Sam, you're exactly right. Everything that you were talking about was in our conversation. So in our conversation during this, after we point and the referee's pointing as well, we talk about with the back judge and the deep wings. Was he blocked into him? No. Was he blocked? Yes. Did he make contact with the receiver, with the returner? No. The returner jumps over him to get to the ball. And then when the ball bounces, it hits the returner. So then that wipes off our KCI at all. And then we have a loose ball, and it was recovered by the kicking team. So we had all that happen so quickly, and we had to talk about it. And we've sat there and looked at this play so many times, but we probably turned this around in about 40 seconds. Anybody else?
It's a tough one. The only reason I, especially if I'm a new cat, it's happening so fast. I've been in this predicament, so I've kind of had a lessons learned. So I've kind of been through the fire. But it is good to have, if that happens, to quickly and efficiently have a conversation, like you said, and make the call. And then, it is what it is. But it's good to have a good deep guy that's a rules guy, because this is something I would not want personally the short wings or the referee to get involved in. Deep wings, we got to own this. This is why we get paid the big bucks.
Yeah, because that punt didn't go much past, probably about 10, 15 yards past the line of scrimmage. So, and that's, I mean, you see where the back judge was, because this was the first punt. And I mean, we had no idea he was gonna shank it. So the back judge is coming probably about 25, 30 yards. Anybody got anything else on this one?
Hey, TJ, for you guys get game film before? Do you guys get that same access?
Yeah, we get it. We get the opportunity to look at game film.
Like, this is a great example of just a little pregame prep. Just kind of to watch the game the week before, because this is a big secret, right? Okay, I'm watching it. It's a terrible punter. I'm only going to be 5 yards behind, because more than likely he's not going to get off a good kick. So I got to bust ass to make sure I have the potential coverage. But it's a great play.
Yeah, Sam, you hit the nail on the head. So let's go to, now here's one for the short wings. So Nick, here's the YouTube video we took off. And this is one I'm going to let play. Replay it again. So what are people thinking here?
I think you said this is a line of scrimmage play, but it's a referee play.
Well, I'm the referee and I'm leaning on you right now, because I was the referee and I was in an oh crap moment. So,
I mean, what I'm telling you, as a line of scrimmage guy, if it's close to this play in particular, pass, fumble, down, all of those decisions to be made
yeah,
in the backfield,
Yep.
I, as a line of scrimmage guy, am not doing anything until I get a signal from my referee.
yep,
Because the last thing that you want from me is for me to tell you that that's incomplete, and then you put a bag on it.
exactly. So this is one where I won't make this mistake again. I back up with him. Okay. He gets up and you'll see me, I'm backing up a little bit more, and he goes forward. And so the question is his knee down or not? And that was on me, and I ruled it was not down. We got together and we called intentional grounding. After looking at the play, his knee was down. This is a play where it's very unusual, because quarterback goes about 10 yards back and is going forward. So I'm backpedaling and I'm going forward with him, and he's getting taken down. So anybody got any comments, any questions on this? We got together, got as much information as I could from the short wings, but ultimately Nick's right was my call. And after looking at the film, I got to get in a better angle to see that his knee's down.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that we as line of scrimmage officials may be able to have an opinion on this play, but we can't. I mean, it's a tough spot. There are some plays that just belong to one official, and that's kind of how it rolls. And this is one of them. You're fortunate that being wrong about intentional grounding versus that guy being down ultimately nets you the same result. You know, you're in a much worse shape if you call that grounding and it's a fumble.
Yeah. Let's see here. This is probably the best view you can get. Is there any referees on this call?
Jake, are you referee? He may be otherwise occupied.
Uh, so
Hey,
I've,
hey, heard my name. Sorry, heard my name and referee. I'm sorry.
You're a referee, aren't you? Jake? Jake, you still there?
I'm sorry, I was frozen there. I couldn't hear anything.
No, it's all right. You're a referee, aren't you?
Yes.
All right.
So-
Go ahead,
so
TJ.
Jake, so Jake is a white hat. What do you see here that you would do?
We just look at a pre-snap. Oh, I'm sorry, you're running it.
No, it's running back through. So I'm about 17, 20 yards back. I'm too deep. Freeze it. You can see my shadows over here. So that'll tell you that I'm too deep, and that's I put myself in a bad predicament.
What's your initial?
We called it an incomplete. We killed it. We called it incomplete pass. We did not have him down, but after looking at the film, his knee was down.
How deep and wide does your coordinator want you?
So this was my first time white hatting, and I was learning. I'm an umpire, probably about 15, and not as deep, probably about 15, 17, and not as wide as I was.
Yeah, well, interestingly enough, my coordinator likes your position. He likes really wide and 10 to 12 deep. So I'm probably pre-snap. I'm probably in a similar position to you. Do you mind running it from the middle of the, like just under the play button one more time?
I can run from the middle of the field if that's better.
Sure.
I can do, okay.
Well, it hops around a little bit, but it looks like the left. You've got a lot of pressure coming from the right side. And what does he get? Does the quarterback get tripped up? Does he throw it and it gets tripped up?
He cuts and he starts falling.
Okay.
And when he,
Yeah, I
when
saw
he
it there,
makes that,
right around the 25. Yeah.
yep. So let's, yeah. So, you know, and this is a situation where, you know, the crew gets together and talks about it, and we talk, you know, all the situations that I brought up were on the table, And this was about a 45-second conversation. And we threw a flag, intentional grounding, and there was really nothing. But I had to go to my short wings on this to get the information, because this was very unusual. And it's just something that you learn by.
Yeah, this is intentional grounding plays are still a little, obviously the referee's hands are full with intentional grounding, and it's clear that you're going to need more information, because the only time that we're going to have it, well, I don't want to say the only time, but most of the time that we're going to have intentional grounding, the quarterback's under a significant amount of pressure, and he's your baby. You are protecting him. That is your only job at that time. And obviously you came off your key because the right tackle, your right tackle is now, he's a little porous there, and that's where the pressure is coming from. And now the quarterback's under duress. So quarterback under duress, immediately you're shifting over to the right side from the left, and you don't have there's no center judge here, right?
Nope.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're on an island here. I mean, did you get any help from your wings?
I asked, so we talked, and I asked if they, what they had. Did you have a knee down? Did you have a incomplete pass? There was no knee that was down. Really, the only person I could go to is the H on this, because he probably had the best angle. He said he didn't have him down. I said, okay. I felt like my position put me too far back to make that judgment as well. And we had a forward pass. So because of forward pass, we had the intentional grounding. And so that, he was sacked, but then we had intentional grounding, which was a loss of down as well, which then made it second, it would be, second, and now it was second and 18 instead of second and 10.
Yeah, what's interesting is so many of us on this call, we started with a flag football background. We preach to keep that 7-7 as a referee, and to keep that angle and that diagonal from our deepest back in the backfield. But there's probably something to that in what you're saying, that you want to come up toward the line of scrimmage a little bit more, but also you have to, in case that quarterback keeps going back, you don't want to find yourself out of position going back toward the other goal line either.
Yeah. So Nick, and any other short wings? Nick, I know you talked about this in the beginning of this clip. When you look at stuff like this and you see us developing, what's going through your mind? When you see a quarterback scrambling and everything else, and he's went back in the pocket, now he's coming forward, what are you seeing, and what's processing in your mind that's coming up?
Well, obviously at that point, we have well zoned up on this play. We're well out of man-to-man. So my concern now becomes making sure those linemen don't drift too far downfield, or if they do, making sure the quarterback runs. But this is like we talked about. I'm not inclined as a line of scrimmage guy, and I don't think you're going to find a lot of line of scrimmage guys who would be inclined to blow this down if we're unclear as to down versus pass versus fumble. I'm not going to come. The only way I would come and get involved in this is if I am 500% sure the quarterback's down.
Okay.
If there's any doubt in my mind, I'm going to play this like a fumble, because he's kind of getting hit and he's kind of going down, and I'm not really sure what's going on until I get some more information from you. And then we may be in a situation where we have to piece it back together.
Yep.
Now, I have the advantage that it doesn't matter all the time what we do, because replay can bail us out sometimes, but that is not everybody's case. And that's the whole purpose of this presentation, is try to figure out ways we can communicate more effectively.
Now, Nick, once you switched over to working a conference with replay, how did your officiating officiating philosophy, I guess, change from 1 year to the next?
I think the biggest thing is just the kind of the let it ride a little bit more. There's the biggest change, I think, moving from a non-replay league to a replay league, are all of the if and the when in question statements that flip. The ones that are when in question, the runner is down when there's not replay, to when in question it is a fumble if there is replay. So those kinds of things where if I'm certain, I still make the judgment based on me being certain that this is the call. If I'm not certain, though, I think everybody that works in a replay league is going to tell you if I'm guessing, I'm guessing towards leaving the ball live because replay can fix more things than if I make the ball dead. That really limits replay. But if I have certainty, I'm still going to make the call. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thanks.
Anybody got any other questions on this play before I go to the last one?
I mean, TJ, the unfortunate part here is like this is just a tough play because of where everybody's going to be, what their focus is going to be. I mean, you may on a play like this where kind of the linemen aren't really blocking anybody at the last minute, maybe the umpire could see a knee down because he's kind of running right at the umpire. But there aren't too many other sets of eyes that really would be looking at the quarterback here.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell by my face on the other videos, I'm a deer in the headlight on this. I'm trying. I've got so many things. Was it a complete pass? Was he down? Was it a fumble? Because where my position is, I can't tell if it's a forward pass or if it got knocked loose. And that was, and that's when I really went to the crew and said, I need help on this. All right. So last one, and this one with crew communication and unusual plays, this is kind of a series of plays that have happened. So this was, I'll preference this was conference championship, winner goes to playoffs, loser season's done, both teams are undefeated. We are in the last minute of the game and they bring in a freshman quarterback to because their quarterback just got injured. So he throws it about 50 yards and we're moving the chains. So let's talk as a crew, everything else. When you see this happening, what's going through your mind next?
Well, from a line of scrimmage perspective, we're trying to get the chain crew moving, or at least the down box. You know, we can live if we just have the box and the chains are still coming up the field, but we need to be alert for them getting up on the ball. But I just want to make sure that we've got the down box in place so that if we have a snap or a foul or something, we know where our previous spot's going to be.
Yeah. And so one of the things that came up in conversation was when it was under a minute, the visiting coach, as soon as it happened, he was wanting the clock wind the same pace that we had to move the chains up, get everyone going. The coach was like, start, and this is the visiting team. He's like, don't wait, get that clock going. So that was another thing. We're like, coach, we're getting everyone, we're going to get that moving, because sometimes the pace of when you start the clock after a first down with 10 minutes left in the quarter compared to a minute left in the quarter, veteran coaches know that.
And then also under a minute deep, guys, we got to make sure that we have that clock, right? We got to make sure we're on it for side judge and field judge per the new philosophy.
So then we go to the next play. Gets it and gets out of bounds. So clock stopped. Everything else, time's not going. This timeout one, I apologize for that one. So then we go to play 4. So it's it's actually a run play. So he runs it up the middle. Oh, I forgot. This did not show up. So the film didn't pick this up, and I apologize for that. But what happens is the next play, we have a DPI in the end zone with an interception. So White thinks they won the game. F has a DPI at the 10. So we're close to about, I can't see that clock. It's got like a 3. We're close to the end of the game. We're probably around 13 seconds. So then we come here. It's spot, dead clock. So he rolls there and he gains positive yardage. So now we got about 10 seconds left in the game and everyone's going and everything else. And now we're on the 5-yard line. So on the 5-yard line, wings are going in and everything else. Now during this whole time, we're on the O2Os talking and everything else because they've got a score here or time's going to expire and the game's over. So on this, you see you see hat off by the field judge. The receiver was pushed out of bounds, but came right back in and hats were off, communicated to the field to the referee. Referee gave touchdown. That was the end of the game. My point on this one is that during that whole drive, we really couldn't lapse on our communication. We couldn't have an error because someone was going to go home. That was good. Someone's season was over. Someone was going to go to the playoffs. And even though it was 10 minutes, if it was 10 minutes in the third quarter, or if it was the last minute of the last game of the year for the conference championship, we have to have the same communication consistent throughout with talking to each other, the quick conversation with the back judge and the field judge, and then get into the referee. So I apologize, DPI is not there, but I mean, our crew communication is really what helped us during this because this was obviously looked at. But if you see the communication, we use the O2Os, we use our hats, which was nonverbal communication, and we were able to process that information and get that to the referee for communication. Anybody got any comments, any results? That's all the video I have. I didn't want to try to exceed it past an hour, but I just want to go over things and kind of hit points where on the field, where communication is key during some plays of the game and focus on plays that happen in the middle of the game, plays that happen at the end of the game, where our communication still has to maintain the same amount of nonverbal communication and verbal communication.
TJ, I thought that's good. I think those are good things to remember. I mean, I know you mentioned that you had O2Os available, and I think that those are obviously valuable tools, but I think we've all worked in situations where maybe our radios aren't working, so our nonverbals and our signals and our vocal communication is equally important. So don't let the O2Os become a crutch that you're not still communicating things with, the whines and all that kind of stuff. Eye contact's still critical, even with O2Os, just because you never know when they're not going to work for whatever reason.
Yeah. And Nick, that's all I got. Back to you. It's all yours.
Thanks, TJ. Great job tonight. I really appreciate it. I'm sure everybody else here appreciates the effort you put into it. So thanks a lot for that. Last thing I just wanted to touch on real quick. Obviously, I'm going to go ahead and this will be up on the this will go up on the website on our YouTube page for everybody's benefit if you want to refer to this in the future. Next week, on Wednesday night instead of Tuesday, we're doing another quiz review for those of you who participated last week. I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to finish the MFOA quizzes numbers 4 and 5 on the 28th. Then I'll get with Bill Foltz about his presentation about video plays from the spring for that following week. If you worked in the spring and you have plays you want to share, please email him. His email, I think, is in the last email that I sent out. But otherwise, hope you enjoyed tonight. Thanks, everybody. We're still looking for people to sign up. I know, Stephen Clayton, I know you signed up for June. We may take the week of Memorial Day off just as a break. But if you're thinking about a topic, don't hesitate to reach out or go on the Google Drive and plug your presentation topic in. We're always looking for good presentations, especially with plays. I'll probably try to do some penalty enforcement stuff here in the coming months as well. But that's all I got for tonight, everybody. Thanks so much for your time and enjoy the rest of your week.
Take care, guys.